Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we have an elementary level lesson in which we're going to talk about small talk.
That's right. Today we're going to talk to an old friend, and so we're going to give you some of the words and phrases you need to talk about your past or talk about how you have been.
So let's listen to today's dialogue, and we'll be back in a moment to discuss it.
I hate coming to high school reunions.
It'll be great, honey. We will get to see your old classmates and catch up to see how they've been doing.
Yeah, I guess so. Oh, look. There's Robert Matthews. Rob!
Hey, Bill. Wow. Great to see you.
Likewise, it's been a long time. This is my wife, Dorothy.
Pleasure to meet you. So, Bill, how have you been?
Can't complain. We have 2 children who are in college, and my business is going well. How about you?
You know me. I'm a dedicated bachelor. I never married, although I do have a beautiful daughter with Mary. You remember her. We were high school sweethearts. It didn't really work out between us, but I really can't complain either.
That's good. Have you seen Frank? I was hoping he would come tonight.
You didn't hear? Frank passed away last year.
Are you serious?
Nah, I'm just janking your chain. He'll be here soon. I saw him last week. He told me he would show up. All right, we're back. So now let's get started with our language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
The first phrase we have here in language takeaway is a very important one because it is the setting for today's dialogue. We are at a high school reunion.
That's right. So everyone knows what high school is, but a high school reunion is when you go back to your high school for a party, maybe 5 years or 10 years after you graduate. So then you meet all your old friends from high school. You talk about, how you have been and just meet up with everyone that maybe you haven't seen in a very long time.
Exactly. So a reunion usually happens every 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years. It can happen at different times, but this is important because you can have many different kinds of reunions, like a college reunion or a high school reunion. I've even heard of some people who had an elementary school reunion.
Really? Wow. Imagine seeing your classmates when you were maybe 10 years old.
I couldn't imagine it.
All right, so we're at a high school reunion, and we are there because we're going to meet our old classmates and to catch up and see how they have been.
Okay, so this is exactly what you do at a reunion. You catch up with people that you maybe lost touch with. To catch up means to find out about what people have been doing since the last time you talked. So maybe
Right.
Marco and I were classmates in high school and we haven't talked in 10 years. I say, Marco, I want to catch up. I want to learn about what you do, who you married, where
Right.
you work, things like that.
Right, so when 2 people get together to catch up, maybe it doesn't even have to be a very long time. Maybe you haven't seen your friend for a week. And so you want to get together, have a cup of coffee, and catch up and see how the relationship has been going or how his work. So you want to catch up.
So you can say this in a very simple way. Let's catch up, or it's been nice to catch up.
That's right. All right, moving on to our next word. This guy, Bill, meets up with Robert Matthews, and they're saying, hey, wow, great to see you. And he answers by saying, likewise.
So it's good to see you. Likewise.
Right.
That means it's good to see you too.
So you don't have to repeat everything that person just said. For example, if I just meet someone new and I say, it's a pleasure to meet you, you can say,
I could say likewise.
likewise.
Because I don't want to say, it's a pleasure to meet you too. That's so many words. So likewise is a very short way to say all of those things.
That's right. So we were finding out about Robert Matthews, and he says that, he is a dedicated bachelor.
So a dedicated bachelor. What is a bachelor, Marco?
So a bachelor is a person who is not married, a person who is single.
A man.
A man.
woman cannot be a bachelor. So a bachelor is specifically a man, and he's not married. And we often have a stereotype. That means we have an idea of what a bachelor lives like.
Right.
You know, he has only beer in his refrigerator, and he has many relationships and no wife. So
That's right. So a dedicated bachelor is a person who is not married and doesn't really seem to want to get married or any of this. He wants to stay single.
exactly.
Okay. And, well, to finish off, this guy Robert lied a little bit to Bill, saying that Frank had passed away.
That's really mean.
Yeah.
But this phrase "to pass away" is very important and something we should talk about. So what does it mean to pass away?
It's another way of saying he died. So
But it's nicer.
Yeah, it's a lot more subtle and nicer. So instead of saying Frank died, you say Frank passed away.
So you could say, last year my grandmother passed away. That's a way of saying that my grandmother died last year. But again, it's a lot nicer way to say.
Right,
to
because
say that.
the word died can be a little bit too direct and too harsh. So maybe saying my grandmother passed away last year, it's a nicer way of saying it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's all the language takeaway you have. Let's take a look at our dialogue again, and we'll be back.
I hate coming to high school reunions.
It'll be great, honey. We will get to see your old classmates and catch up to see how they've been doing.
Yeah, I guess so. Oh, look. There's Robert Matthews. Rob!
Hey, Bill. Wow. Great to see you.
Likewise, it's been a long time. This is my wife, Dorothy.
Pleasure to meet you. So, Bill, how have you been?
Can't complain. We have 2 children who are in college, and my business is going well. How about you?
You know me. I'm a dedicated bachelor. I never married, although I do have a beautiful daughter with Mary. You remember her. We were high school sweethearts. It didn't really work out between us, but I really can't complain either.
That's good. Have you seen Frank? I was hoping he would come tonight.
You didn't hear? Frank passed away last year.
Are you serious?
Nah, I'm just janking your chain. He'll be here soon. I saw him last week. He told me he would show up. All right, let's move on now to 4 key phrases on Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
So the focus of today's Fluency Builder is small talk. These are phrases you can use when you're at a reunion or a dinner, especially with people you don't know very well. So let's jump in and look at this first phrase. Great to see you.
That's right. So he says, hey, Bill, wow, great to see you. So this is a nice little opening phrase saying, wow, I'm really excited to see you. I'm really happy to see you.
Exactly. It means I'm happy. Look at you. Great to see you. You say this at the beginning of a conversation.
That's right. And actually, Bill responded by saying likewise. So we talked about this. He's saying, wow, great to see you too. Then he continues by saying, it's been a long time.
This means that these 2 people, they have not seen each other in a very long time. You can also say, it's been so long, or it's been a long time. That means it's been a long time since we last saw each other.
That's right. So Robert goes on to ask Bill, he says, well, how have you been? How are things? Bill answers by saying, can't complain.
Okay, so this is not grammatically correct. Normally you need a subject.
Right.
I can't complain. But when we're speaking in English and we're having a conversation like this, it's okay to say just can't complain as a phrase. So he's saying, how have you been? Well, I can't complain.
Right.
Or can't complain. That means nothing bad has happened. Things
Right.
are okay.
Right, you're saying that things are good, they're not fantastic, but they're not bad either, so you can't really complain. So it's just a phrase where very directly you can say, oh, can't complain, everything's great.
So you could even say this about other things, like, I asked John how his job was, and he said, can't complain.
Right.
It means not great, but it's not bad.
Right, exactly right. All right, and obviously we saw how Robert lied to Bill by saying that their good friend Frank had passed away. And he said, are you serious? Nah, I'm just yanking your chain.
Okay, so this might sound very strange to a lot of you because a chain is something that doesn't really seem to fit in this conversation.
Right.
But yanking your chain, remember this as a phrase. It means I'm just joking.
Right.
I'm
just
not serious.
Kidding. I'm lying to you, I guess, right? So, but how can you use this in another context?
Okay, I could say, you know what, Marco, I have something I have to tell you.
And I say, what?
I'm leaving English Pod. I quit.
Are you
Sorry.
serious?
No, I'm just yanking your chain.
Okay.
Or, no, I'm just kidding.
Right. So you're kind of teasing someone when you do this, right? Mm-hmm. I'm just yanking your chain. I'm just lying to you. I'm teasing you. I'm making you believe something that isn't true.
Exactly. So this is something you can use after you tell someone that you were just joking. So,
That's right.
I'm just yanking your chain. I'm just joking with you.
That's right. So don't try to translate it directly or literally because it's not going to make sense. So just remember this as a phrasal verb or a phrase in general.
Exactly.
All right, let's listen to our dialogue one last time and we'll be back to talk a little bit more.
I hate coming to high school reunions.
It'll be great, honey. We will get to see your old classmates and catch up to see how they've been doing.
Yeah, I guess so. Oh, look. There's Robert Matthews. Rob!
Hey, Bill. Wow. Great to see you.
Likewise, it's been a long time. This is my wife, Dorothy.
Pleasure to meet you. So, Bill, how have you been?
Can't complain. We have 2 children who are in college, and my business is going well. How about you?
You know me. I'm a dedicated bachelor. I never married, although I do have a beautiful daughter with Mary. You remember her. We were high school sweethearts. It didn't really work out between us, but I really can't complain either.
That's good. Have you seen Frank? I was hoping he would come tonight.
You didn't hear? Frank passed away last year.
Are you serious?
Nah, I'm just janking your chain. He'll be here soon. I saw him last week. He told me he would show up. All right, so we're back and talking about high school reunions. These are very popular in the United States, right?
They are very popular, and I think people often have them every 5, 10, 15, 20 years. But most people don't go to the high school reunion until either 10 or 20 years after their high school graduation.
Why is that?
I think at 5 years is very soon. 10 years is nice because you haven't seen people, but 20 years is really, I think, shocking because people can be completely different or
Right.
they could be the same. But it's
Right.
been, you were 18 when you graduated high school. Now you're 38 years old. You have
Right.
this whole life that you've had. And so I think it's much more interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and I guess people go to these things half because they do want to maybe meet up with old friends that they haven't kept in touch with. I think especially this was very popular before the whole internet revolution. Now everyone's in touch on Facebook and emails, and it's just so much easier to keep in touch. But before, you have to remember that, it was basically by telephone or by mail. So actually seeing a person 10 years or catching up with them was very difficult back then.
Yeah, we all see photos and videos now of our classmates,
Right.
and so it's not quite as surprising when we bump
Yeah.
into them later. But I think it is still interesting, though, because at least on my social networking websites, there are a lot of people that I don't have connections to. And so I look forward to my high school reunion when I get to see some of these people and kind of find out what they've been doing for the past 10 or 15 years.
It's actually very interesting, I guess, when you see how your classmates have changed, how maybe the one that used to be the nerd or maybe not very attractive all of a sudden is really attractive and has like a supermodel as a wife, or how these things work out.
Or the high school football captain is now kind of sad and, fat.
Bald. So yeah, these are the types of surprises that people look forward to when they go to high school reunions. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Meet each other. Catch up. Have strong loyalty to someone or something. Dedicated. Also. Likewise. Deceive someone in a friendly or playful way. Yank your chain. The person who you loved in high school. High school sweetheart.
Let's try that faster.
Deceive someone in a friendly or playful way. Yank your chain. Meet each other. Catch up. Also. Likewise. The person who you loved in high school. High school sweetheart. Have strong loyalty to someone or something. Dedicated.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Catch up. Lisa's back from Holland, and we are having lunch today to catch up. Catch up. Hi, Jonas. I haven't seen you in a long time. Do you want to grab a drink after work to catch up? Catch up. I haven't seen my college friends in a while, so the party will be a good time to catch up. Dedicated. He's a dedicated husband and father. He's a real family man. Dedicated. She's a dedicated researcher of marine biology. Dedicated. We need to hire a dedicated translator once we start doing more business with Vietnam. Likewise. I told Edward I'd liked him, but he didn't say likewise. Likewise. My parents want me to get a PhD, and likewise it's my dream to become a doctor. Likewise. I ordered a mocha coffee and a muffin, and Janet did likewise. High school sweetheart. John married his high school sweetheart last year in a small wedding ceremony. High school sweetheart. Laurie stayed with her high school sweetheart all through college. High school sweetheart. Robbie and Vanessa were high school sweethearts, but they've both moved on and started families now. Yank your chain. My Uncle Tommy loves to joke around and yank your chain. Just don't take anything he says too seriously. Yank your chain. I hate it when people yank my chain when I'm trying to be serious. Yank your chain. Chill out, I was just yanking your chain.
In today's story, we'll uncover 5 powerful lessons about managing money. Lessons you might not learn in school but are crucial for achieving financial success. As we dive into Sam's journey, we'll also learn some new words and see how to use them in sentences. This will help us practice English in a fun and easy way. So, stay with us till the end. Once upon a time, in a bustling little town, there lived a 27-year-old man named Sam. One afternoon, he sat on the side of the road, lost in thought. Despite working hard for 5 years, his life hadn't improved. Sam wondered if there was a way to escape poverty and achieve true wealth. As he strolled by a grand mansion, something compelled him to step past the tall iron gate without permission. Little did he know, this daring act would lead him to a life-changing lesson about money. From afar, he saw an elderly man sitting on a garden bench with a cup of coffee in hand. This man was Mr. Hayes, the mansion's owner, a wealthy but humble and generous soul. Sam approached him, politely apologizing. "I'm sorry for entering without permission, Mr. Hayes." Recognizing Sam, Mr. Hayes was surprised by his sudden visit but welcomed him kindly, curious to know why he had come. Sam took a seat beside Mr. Hayes and began, "Sir, I've worked for 5 years, earning a decent wage, yet my life hasn't changed. I don't splurge, but I just can't seem to get ahead. Do you have any advice on how someone like me could become wealthy?" With a warm smile, Mr. Hayes replied, "Anyone can achieve wealth, Sam, including you." He continued, "I'll share 5 principles about money that you won't learn in school. Follow these carefully, and I assure you, you'll find yourself on the path to financial success." Eagerly, Sam listened as Mr. Hayes began. "The first rule," Mr. Hayes said, "is to spend less than you earn. This is the foundation. If you don't master this, you can't move on to the other steps. For example, if you make $5,000 a month, set aside at least $2,000. If it's $3,000, save $1,000. Avoid expenses that exceed your income, whether loans or gambling. Even with a 6-figure salary, without this rule, you'll remain in debt." Sam nodded thoughtfully, absorbing each word. Mr. Hayes took a calm sip of his coffee and continued. "The second rule is to have an emergency fund. Life is unpredictable. Car repairs, a leaky roof, or even layoffs can happen at any time. Without an emergency fund, you're forced to borrow or sell assets at a loss, which restricts your options and adds stress. Think of it as your safety net, protecting your finances when unexpected events arise." Sam nodded again, appreciating the wisdom in this approach. "Let's get to the third lesson, which is investing. Now, people like you might feel unsure about investing in a business or stock since you may not have much knowledge. So, the best investment you can make right now is in yourself." "Curious?" Sam asked. "How, sir?" Mr. Hayes continued, "Take your skill set, whether it's carpentry, plumbing, or customer service. Invest your time, energy, and money into mastering it further. Learn where your boss sources materials or explore ways to market your services better. Use some of your savings to improve your expertise, attend courses, buy tools, or read relevant books." Realizing the value of these words, Sam looked at Mr. Hayes with newfound determination, regretting he hadn't learned this sooner. Mr. Hayes continued with the 4th lesson. "Now that you're gaining skills, it's time to start earning more. Once you've honed your abilities, maybe you'll start your own business and your income will grow. You're no longer paid per hour but earned based on what you produce. The harder you work, the more you earn." The sky was getting darker, yet Sam felt no urge to leave. He was eager to learn the final principle. Mr. Hayes looked at him and said, "And finally, the 5th lesson, create passive income. When you've applied the first 4 principles, you should have extra money. Now, it's time to let your money work for you. You can invest in property, start a rental business, buy a franchise, or research other sources of passive income. Think carefully and choose wisely. How about it, Sam? Are you ready to take on these lessons?" Mr. Hayes asked, ending the conversation with a gentle smile. Brimming with excitement, Sam replied, "I used to just go to work, save a little, and hope for wealth to come my way. But I now understand that there's a real strategy, and I'm thankful, sir, for the invaluable guidance." Today we learned new words and sentences through this story about wealth and financial wisdom. Remember, learning English can be fun when you practice regularly. So, keep listening, learning, and growing. Make sure to like, comment, and share how this story helped you improve your English. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next story, where we'll continue learning together.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Something is usual or expected. Norm. The money that a country uses. Currency. The sum of money required to reinstate. Margin deposit. Taking effect rapidly. Drastically. Very quickly, just a second. Split second. An offer to pay a particular amount of money. Bid.
Let's try that faster.
The sum of money required to reinstate. Margin deposit. Something is usual or expected. Norm. Very quickly, just a second. Split second. An offer to pay a particular amount of money. Bid. Taking effect rapidly. Drastically. The money that a country uses. Currency.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Norm. What's the norm in this company concerning protocol? Norm. This is the norm, so you'd better get used to it. Norm. Delivery, McDonald's, and street vendors are the norms around here. Currency. Before I went to France, I had to change some of my Canadian currency into euros. Currency. What's the currency in this country? Currency. My country's currency is worth next to nothing in USD. Margin deposit. He decided to start with a margin deposit of GBP 100. Margin deposit. I can't believe that I can trade with USD 1 million deposit when I've only put in a margin deposit of USD 10,000. Margin deposit. One has to be careful with trading using a margin deposit because the risk of losing more money than one has are high. Split second. The gang members were closing in on me fast, so I made a split-second decision to run instead of fight. Split second. My heart pounded as I made a split-second decision and took hold of her hand. Split second. My split-second decision to try a trick on my bicycle in order to impress my friends didn't end well. Bid. The current bid ask for EUR USD is 1.3998-79. Bid. I bought euros at an ask of $1.4235 and sold British pounds at a bid of $1.5001. Bid. The bid for Japanese yen and the ask for Hong Kong dollars are really good right now if you trade in US currency.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we have a very weather-focused lesson. It's all about all the horrible things that can happen to you with the weather.
Exactly. So as you know, there are many different types of weather, and not only rain or sunshine, but many other phenomena. So we're going to take a look at some of those. But before we go into it, let's take a look at one word on Vocabulary Preview.
Vocabulary Preview.
Okay, so we're talking about extreme weather today. That's not rain or drizzle or sunshine. We're talking about really interesting, unique, and sometimes devastating things that can happen. So today's vocabulary word is Armageddon.
All right, so Armageddon. Now, you've probably seen the movie Armageddon, so what does this word mean?
Okay, so this word is a reference to the end of the world. It means the time when the world will end because of a great catastrophe or a great disaster.
Okay, so everyone talks about Armageddon. It's mentioned in the Bible, and as you say, it's when the world stops existing.
Exactly. So think about that one as we listen to today's dialogue. We will be back in a minute to talk about what's going on.
Those are the headlines for today. And now for the International Weather Report with Mike Sanderson.
Thank you, Bob. This past week has been the beginning of Armageddon for many, as a series of unprecedented meteorological events occurred around the world. In Switzerland, a major avalanche was reported in the Alps. Fortunately, no one was injured. Due to the extreme cold this winter, a blizzard has struck the U.S. Midwest, causing classes in schools and universities to be temporarily canceled. Moving on to Latin America, Ecuador has suffered a 6-month drought that has not only affected farming, but has also forced the closure of the hydroelectric power plant that provides electricity for the entire country. In Chile, a major earthquake that registered 7.5 on the Richter scale struck the southern region. Losses are reported to be in the billions. Authorities have not yet released an official statement.
Not a great week for the world. Any good news?
I'm afraid not, Bob. One of the major volcanoes in Mexico has erupted, causing major floods and landslides in the region. Meanwhile, Mexico's coast has been hit by Hurricane Liliana, and officials say that all the seismic activity leads them to believe that a tsunami may hit Central America, affecting Honduras, Guatemala, and Panama. That's all the news we have for today, but stay tuned for updates on the 6 o'clock news. Back to you, Bob. All right, we're back, and well, this weather report is not really far from the truth. I mean, this kind of stuff happens every day all over the world, right?
That's correct. And unfortunately, it's been happening very frequently in the past couple months. We've heard of a lot of earthquakes and volcanoes and things like that. So this is very valuable stuff when you're trying to talk about current events as well.
Okay. So why don't we start now analyzing a couple of different words and phrases on language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
Well, the first vocabulary item we have here is meteorological event. It's a real mouthful. It's a long word.
Meteorological.
So, for example, meteorological means having to do with the weather, something that's related to the weather. So, a meteorological event could be rain, snow.
Okay, so it has to do with meteorology.
Meteorology is the study of the weather, and someone who does this is a meteorologist.
So usually the weathermen that you see on TV, they're meteorologists.
So let's go now to Marco, our resident meteorologist.
There we go.
Our resident meteorologist.
Right, okay. So meteorological events. Now moving on, one of the first events that we're going to look at is an avalanche.
Avalanche. An avalanche has to do with snow. This means that when a mountain that has a lot of snow on it, maybe part of that snow breaks off and starts to roll down, you have a wall of snow that comes down. That's an avalanche.
That's an avalanche.
So you could say, avalanche. Right. And the snow comes down. And it's actually very dangerous because people can get buried under the snow.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so another event that has to do with snow is a blizzard.
Okay, a blizzard is different from an avalanche because an avalanche, maybe it's not snowing, the snow just falls. But in a blizzard, you're talking about a storm of snow.
But it's like a lot of snow coming down from the sky.
So much snow that you probably can't see anything. There's just white everywhere.
Okay. All right, so that's a blizzard. A lot of snow coming down from the sky. Now, moving on, the opposite of snow and things being wet is we have a drought.
Yeah, this is the opposite of wet, actually. So there's no rain in a drought. A drought means that things are very dry. The land is very dry.
Okay, so it's a period of time that there's no snow, there's no water, there's no rain, there's nothing. It's very, very dry. We're going through a drought.
Correct. And the problem with a drought is very dangerous is because people cannot grow food in a drought. And so lots of people starve when this happens.
Okay, so you got to watch out for a drought. Now, in this case, it not only affected farming, but also we have a hydroelectric power plant that can't work, obviously, because there's no water.
So hydro means water. Hydroelectric means electricity that is generated by flowing water. And so, for example, a mill, something that churns water on a river, is a way to get power from water. But a hydroelectric project that can give you electricity is maybe like a dam or an electric mill.
Right. So usually you have these on rivers, and they just take advantage of the flowing of water to turn some huge turbines and generate power. So that's all we have for now. Why don't we listen to the dialogue again, and we'll be back shortly to take a look at some more words.
Those are the headlines for today. And now for the International Weather Report with Mike Sanderson.
Thank you, Bob. This past week has been the beginning of Armageddon for many, as a series of unprecedented meteorological events occurred around the world. In Switzerland, a major avalanche was reported in the Alps. Fortunately, no one was injured. Due to the extreme cold this winter, a blizzard has struck the U.S. Midwest, causing classes in schools and universities to be temporarily canceled. Moving on to Latin America, Ecuador has suffered a 6-month drought that has not only affected farming, but has also forced the closure of the hydroelectric power plant that provides electricity for the entire country. In Chile, a major earthquake that registered 7.5 on the Richter scale struck the southern region. Losses are reported to be in the billions. Authorities have not yet released an official statement.
Not a great week for the world. Any good news?
I'm afraid not, Bob. One of the major volcanoes in Mexico has erupted, causing major floods and landslides in the region. Meanwhile, Mexico's coast has been hit by Hurricane Liliana, and officials say that all the seismic activity leads them to believe that a tsunami may hit Central America, affecting Honduras, Guatemala, and Panama. That's all the news we have for today, but stay tuned for updates on the 6 o'clock news. Back to you, Bob.
Well, a word that many people are unfortunately familiar with is Richter or Richter scale. And now this is something that a lot of people are talking about right now because of the earthquake in Sichuan, China last year, and the earthquake in Haiti very recently. And so the Richter scale, that's a big R because it's a proper name, is a way for us to determine how severe, how big the earthquake was.
Right, so people talk about a 6.0, a 7.1, so that's on the Richter scale.
The lowest is 0 and the highest is 10, correct?
Right, but 10 is like impossible, apparently.
Apparently, and a lot of them are actually underwater, but the very serious ones are maybe 8.0, 7.0.
All right, so Richter scale. Now, we talked about earthquakes, we talked about snowing. Now, let's talk about a volcano. A volcano in Mexico has erupted.
Okay, so we've got two words here, volcano. A volcano is a mountain that has an opening in the center where lava from the middle of the earth, the center of the earth, can come out. So it's very dangerous, obviously, because it's very hot.
Right.
But a volcano doesn't open, it erupts. So the verb here that we use with a volcano is to erupt.
Okay, so it doesn't explode, a volcano erupts.
That means to open violently, very quickly.
Okay, so when this happens, obviously you have a lot of lava, you have maybe snow that melts, and you have floods and landslides.
Okay, landslides. A landslide is one word, but it's made up of two words that you probably already know. So land, obviously, it's the ground and things
earth.
like that, the earth. But a slide is to move down across the ground. And so a landslide happens when you've got something like lava or water that's pushing all of the earth, all of the ground down, and it's destroying houses and trees and land, and it's very, very destructive.
Right, so you usually see this that happens on the side of mountains or on the side of hills where all that land starts to slide down or to go down. And it's very similar to an avalanche, right? But instead of snow falling down, it's land.
Mud and land.
Yeah. All right, so we have a landslide. And because of all the eruptions and the earthquakes, they said that they have a lot of seismic activity.
This word seismic is something that I've heard a lot recently in movies like 2012.
Yeah.
So seismic means having to do with the movement of the plates under the Earth's crust. So, the Earth is not everything that we see. It's also activity, things happening underneath the ground.
Right.
And so underneath the ground, we have these big plates, and seismic activity is what happens when these kind of things start to move. Activity is movement. And so seismic activity refers to earthquakes and volcanoes, things that are changing under the ground that will affect us.
Okay. So that's seismic activity. It's pronounced seismic, right?
Seismic. That's
Seismic.
correct.
Okay. And because of all this activity, people say that they may have a tsunami.
Well, this doesn't sound very English, does it?
I know, tsunami. And actually, if you see the spelling, it's with a T, T-S.
Right, I think it's a Japanese word, but I'm not positive.
I think so, too.
Tsunami is the name that we give to a giant tidal wave. So that's a wave of water in the ocean that's very, very dangerous because it can get to 100, 200 feet tall. And this means that when it comes down, it can destroy houses, cities, cars, things like that.
Right.
And there was a very, very famous tsunami in Southeast Asia in 2004. Do you remember that?
Yeah, and in Indonesia, right?
That's right, Indonesia and Thailand and Vietnam.
Yeah, it was intense. It was big. And it was also because of an earthquake, right?
I think so. All these earthquakes, they move the earth around, and then all of a sudden the reaction is that there's water that moves,
This
and the water
huge wave.
then turns into a wave.
Yeah, just imagine what happens if you have a bucket of water and then you start moving the bucket just a little bit, and you see how water starts to splat all over the place.
That's right.
All right, so tsunami was our last word for today. Why don't we listen to our dialogue again, and we'll be back shortly.
Those are the headlines for today. And now for the International Weather Report with Mike Sanderson.
Thank you, Bob. This past week has been the beginning of Armageddon for many, as a series of unprecedented meteorological events occurred around the world. In Switzerland, a major avalanche was reported in the Alps. Fortunately, no one was injured. Due to the extreme cold this winter, a blizzard has struck the U.S. Midwest, causing classes in schools and universities to be temporarily canceled. Moving on to Latin America, Ecuador has suffered a 6-month drought that has not only affected farming, but has also forced the closure of the hydroelectric power plant that provides electricity for the entire country. In Chile, a major earthquake that registered 7.5 on the Richter scale struck the southern region. Losses are reported to be in the billions. Authorities have not yet released an official statement.
Not a great week for the world. Any good news?
I'm afraid not, Bob. One of the major volcanoes in Mexico has erupted, causing major floods and landslides in the region. Meanwhile, Mexico's coast has been hit by Hurricane Liliana, and officials say that all the seismic activity leads them to believe that a tsunami may hit Central America, affecting Honduras, Guatemala, and Panama. That's all the news we have for today, but stay tuned for updates on the 6 o'clock news. Back to you, Bob.
So, Marco, these are all pretty terrifying. Have you ever experienced a meteorological event like one of the ones that we talked about today?
I've actually lived it through like 3 earthquakes, like pretty big ones.
Well, that's because you used to live in Los Angeles.
In LA, yeah. So we get them all the time in LA. Apart from that, I've seen a volcano erupt a couple of times because, Ecuador is part of the volcano alley, right? Mm-hmm. It's all the Andes Mountains, and it's part of the Circle of Fire, what they call. So we have a couple of different active volcanoes, and from time to time they will start to smoke or to spew some lava, but nothing major. Like, there hasn't been a major catastrophe with the volcanoes. Hopefully it won't either.
Well, and these days they have a lot of equipment, seismic equipment and meteorological equipment that can help meteorologists to determine when things will happen, like when a volcano will erupt or if there will be an earthquake, because they can study the tremors in the ground.
Right. Yeah, and I think probably the most famous volcano is, I think it was in Italy, right? Mount Vesuvius.
That's right. So you've got Mount Vesuvius in Naples, which famously destroyed a number of cities in this ancient civilization and ancient
What is a major
Roman times.
eruption?
It was, and what's amazing is that they still have a lot of the buildings
Underground,
under
right?
the ash.
Wow.
Because when all the ash settled, it preserved the bodies like a mummy.
That's
and so you
crazy.
can see the bodies and the things that they, their jewelry and their money. And it's fascinating because it's this horrible, horrible natural disaster actually helped us in the future learn about this old civilization.
Yeah. It's crazy. Actually, in Ecuador, you can see a huge hole that has like a lake in the middle. And you're like, oh, wow, that's beautiful. But that's actually caused because the entire mountain just kind of blew the top off, like the cone, because of this major eruption. So you can just imagine how powerful these eruptions are. I can just imagine what it would have been like Mount Vesuvius. But anyway, on a brighter note, if you have any questions, any comments, or any stories of your own, maybe you've lived through a typhoon, a hurricane, a tornado, you can come to our website, englishpod.com.
We hope to see you there.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Great snow. Blizzard. A prolonged period of scanty rainfall. Drought. A very big rain and windstorm. Hurricane. A large sea wave produced by an earthquake. Tsunami. Something tech relating to or caused by an earthquake. Seismic activity.
Let's try that faster.
A very big rain and windstorm. Hurricane. A prolonged period of scanty rainfall. Drought. Something tech relating to or caused by an earthquake. Seismic activity. Great snow. Blizzard. A large sea wave produced by an earthquake. Tsunami.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Blizzard.
With the blizzard came strong gusts of wind, freezing temperatures, and near zero visibility because of all the blowing snow.
Blizzard.
The blizzard warning will remain in effect until tomorrow morning, when the winds will die down to about 30 kilometers per hour.
Blizzard.
If you really need to venture out into that blizzard with your car, you are going to have to go at a crawl because of the near whiteout conditions and the danger of drifting.
Drought.
The lack of rain in the spring and the above average temperatures caused a drought in the late summer.
Drought.
We have to start conserving water because of the drought.
Drought.
For about half a decade in the 1930s, the prairies in Canada and the United States experienced a severe drought, during which there were numerous dust storms, and the land became a wasteland.
Hurricane.
Several mudslides occurred in this region shortly after the hurricane passed through.
Hurricane.
North Atlantic hurricanes are formed off the tip of Africa, build as they travel across the Atlantic Ocean, and then finally hit the Caribbean and the southern United States at full force.
Hurricane.
The weather became very calm all of a sudden, and we knew that the eye of the hurricane was passing over us.
Seismic activity.
He measured the earthquakes using a seismograph and noticed the increase in seismic activity.
Seismic activity.
Seismic activity can cause new land masses to form and the destruction of others.
Seismic activity.
The seismic activity caused earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and multiple tsunamis.
Tsunami.
When there is a massive earthquake on the ocean floor, a lot of water is displaced, forming a tsunami as this water travels towards land.
Tsunami.
The Indian Ocean tsunami in 2004 was caused by one of the largest earthquakes ever recorded.
Tsunami.
She looked out over the land, still flooded in areas by water left by the tsunami that had ravaged her home just days before.